Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Frank enlisted in the aviation section U.S. Signal Corps on September 25, 1917, and received pilot training in Texas and California. After being commissioned a second lieutenant in March 1918, he deployed to France for further training, and in July was assigned to the 27th Aero Squadron. Although Luke was still a second lieutenant at the time of his death, according to Stephen Skinner's book, The Stand Notes, he later received the promotion to first lieutenant. Because of his arrogance and consistency tendencies to fly alone and disobey orders, Luke was disliked by some of his fellow pilots and superiors. But the 27th Aero Squadron was under standing orders to destroy German observation balloons. Because of this, Luke, along with his close friend Lieutenant Joseph Frank Wayner, continually volunteered to attack these important targets, although they were heavily defended by anti-aircraft guns on the ground. Both Luke and Werner were courageous for their decision to take on this mission and take down the German balloons. As the mission went on, the two pilots began a string of victories together, with Luke attacking balloons and Werner flying protective cover. As the two were making history and taking over the war in the air, Werner was killed in action on September 18, 1918, by George von Hentelmann in a dogfight with Fokker DV-3s, which were attacking Luke. Luke's partner, Joseph Wayner, had his back and went down fighting for his brother-in-arms, as he wanted it to be. Luke then shot down two of these DV-3s, two balloons, and a Halberstadt, which allowed Luke to achieve his 13th visual kill. A Halberstadt C-type observation plane of Philibert Epsilon 36. Luke's final flight took place during the first phase of the Meuse-Argonne offensive. On September 28, 1918, after achieving his 14th and 15th victories, he landed a SPAD X-3 at the French Aerodrome at Sigacons, where he spent the night, claiming engine trouble. When he returned to the first pursuit groups based at Rembercourt the next day, he was confronted by his captain, Alfred A. Grant, his squadron's commanding officer. Despite being under threat of arrest by Grant for absent without leave, Luke took off without authorization and flew to a forward airbase in Verdun, where sympathetic group commander Major Hartney canceled the arrest and gave Luke tactic approval to continue his balloon hunting. That evening, Luke flew to the front attack, 3 balloons at the vicinity of Dunstermeuse, 6 miles behind the German lines. He first dropped a message to a nearby United States balloon company, alerting them to observe his imminent attacks. Luke shot down the enemy balloons, but was then severely wounded by a single machine gun bullet fired from a hilltop above him, a mile east of the last balloon site he attacked. Luke landed in a field just west of a small village of Mouvrag, after strafing a group of German soldiers on the ground, near the Ruisseau de Bourdon, a stream leading to a Meuse river. Although weakened by his wound, he made his way toward the stream, intending to reach the cover of adjacent underbrush, but finally collapsed some 200 meters from his airplane. Approached by German infantry, Luke drew his Colt Model 1911 pistol and fired a few rounds at his attackers before dying. Reports that a day later, his body was found with an empty gun and a bullet hole in his chest, with 7 dead Germans in front of him, were proven erroneous. According to the author Skinner, the fatal bullet, fired from the hilltop machine gun position, had entered Luke's right shoulder, passed through his body, and exited from his left side. On September 30th, 1918, the Germans buried Luke in Mouvrag Cemetery, where his body was retrieved 2 months later by American forces. Between the dates of September 12th and the 29th, Luke was credited with shooting down 14 German balloons and 4 airplanes. Luke achieved these 18 victories during 10 sorties in 8 days, a feat unsurpassed by any World War I pilot. Throughout these dogfights in the air, Frank Luke did it with having great courage. Did alongside his partner have to be the ones to volunteer for a suicide mission? No. Did Frank have to go off on his own with orders not to? No, but he did it anyways. He did it knowing it was all for a worthy cause and that he was going to put his own life on the line for his country. If that's not courage, then I don't know what is.